I don't know what you want to call this.
That was supposed to be like a period, like City Girls period.
Keep a baby Glock, I ain't fighting with no random period.
Like,
Hi, Bay. I'm Coco Gauff, and I'm down in Australia with New Balance for the launch of my new kits.
COCO Gauff, this trophy says it all. You are the Roland Garros champion. Firstly, congratulations.
Thank you.
Take us back to when it goes wide. What's the
COCO Gauff's tearful tribute, the $250,000 secret that made her mother cry at the Australian Open. The world of tennis stopped spinning for exactly 17 seconds. That's how long it took for COCO Gauff to transform a routine post-match ritual into a moment so emotionally charged that grown men in the stands were wiping their eyes and pretending they had something in them. The Rod Laver Arena, a concrete coliseum that has witnessed countless champions raise trophies overhead, had never seen anything quite like this. Here was America's golden girl, fresh off a brutal battle in the scorching Melbourne heat, standing before a television camera with a marker in her trembling hand and tears streaming down her face. She wasn't celebrating. She wasn't showboating. She was talking to her mom. Welcome back to Chatterbox, where we bring you the stories that matter, the moments that move us, and the drama that keeps us coming back for more. Today, we're peeling back the layers on one of the most extraordinary weeks in recent tennis history. This isn't just about forehands and backhands. This isn't about seeding and brackets. This is about family, legacy, and a 21-year-old woman who just dropped a financial bombshell so massive it sent shockwaves through the entire sporting world. We're talking $250,000. We're talking tears that melted hearts across continents. We're talking about COCO Gauff, and trust me when I say you've never heard this story told like this before. So buckle up, grab your favorite beverage, and let me take you on a journey through the heat, the heartbreak, and the hope that define the opening rounds of the Australian Open 2026. This is going to be one wild ride. Let's rewind to the beginning. Melbourne Park on a Monday afternoon in late January is not for the faint of heart. The Australian summer doesn't mess around. The sun beats down with the intensity of 1,000 studio lights, and the humidity wraps around you like a wet blanket you can't shake off. Professional athletes have been known to struggle just to breathe in these conditions, let alone perform at the highest level of their sport. Now imagine you're COCO Gauff, the third-ranked player in the world, with millions of eyes watching your every move. And you're about to step onto that court knowing that anything less than victory will be dissected and criticized across every social media platform known to humanity. The pressure doesn't just build in these moments. It crushes. Her opponent was Kamila Rakhimova, a tough-as-nails competitor from Uzbekistan who was ranked outside the top 100 but had absolutely nothing to lose and everything to prove. On paper, this looked like a straightforward win for COCO. The bookmakers had her as a massive favorite. The commentators were already talking about her potential path to the semifinals. But tennis has a funny way of humbling anyone who gets too comfortable. The moment you think you've got it figured out, the sport slaps you across the face and reminds you why it's called the beautiful game. It's unpredictable, it's cruel, and it demands respect. The first set went exactly according to script. COCO came out firing on all cylinders, her serve clocking in at speeds that made the ball look like a yellow blur, her ground strokes painted so close to the lines they left chalk dust hanging in the air. She took the set 6-2, and for about 35 minutes, everything looked perfect. The crowd was getting into it, roaring with every winner, groaning with every unforced error from Rakhimova. COCO's box was relaxed, smiling, confident. This was supposed to be a tune-up, a warm-up, a gentle introduction to what everyone hoped would be a deep run into the second week of the tournament. And then the wheels started to wobble. The second set began, and suddenly, inexplicably, the serves that had been landing with pinpoint accuracy started spraying all over the court. Double fault. Then another. Then another. 7 in total during that set alone. For a player of COCO's caliber, that's not just unusual. It's alarming. Double faults are the tennis equivalent of an own goal in soccer or a pick-six in football. They're gifts to your opponent, points you literally hand over without them having to do anything at all. And Kamila Rakhimova, professional that she is, started to sense blood in the water. She began attacking more aggressively, taking bigger swings, going for more. The momentum shifted. The crowd noise changed from supportive to nervous. Up in the player's box, Coco's father Corey had that tight-lipped expression parents get when they're trying not to interfere but are dying inside watching their child struggle. The cameras zoomed in. The crowd, which had been roaring moments before, fell into a hushed, almost reverent silence. Even the commentators, normally rapid-fire with analysis and statistics, stopped talking. 17,000 people held their breath. Coco wrote a message to her mother. We don't know the exact words. The broadcast didn't zoom in close enough to read every letter, and Coco has kept the specifics private, which is her absolute right. But the tone was unmistakable. This was gratitude. This was love. This was a daughter speaking to the woman who had sacrificed everything so she could chase a dream. The message was personal, intimate, and heartbreakingly beautiful. And as soon as Coco finished writing and stepped back, the camera cut to the player's box where Candy Gauff, her mother, was sitting. Candy's hand was over her mouth. Her eyes were glistening, and within seconds, she was openly crying. The moment was captured and broadcast around the world. Within minutes, it was trending on every major social media platform. Twitter exploded. Instagram lit up. TikTok creators were already making reaction videos. But the most powerful response came from Candy herself, who later posted on social media exactly what that message meant to her. She wrote, and I quote, "I'm so proud of you and really love what you've written on the screen." Let's pause here and talk about why this hit so hard. In the world of elite tennis, the relationship between parent and child is often complicated, fraught with tension, and sometimes downright toxic. We've all heard the horror stories. The parents who scream from the stands, who berate their kids after losses, who treat their children like investments rather than human beings. Tennis is littered with cautionary tales of parents who pushed too hard, demanded too much, and left emotional scars that lasted long after the last ball was struck. The Williams sisters had to navigate this. Andre Agassi wrote an entire autobiography about resenting the sport his father forced upon him. The list goes on. But the Gauff family is different. From the very beginning, Candy and Corey Gauff made a conscious decision to support their daughter without suffocating her. They recognized her talent early, yes. They made sacrifices to help her develop that talent, absolutely. But they never let tennis define their relationship. They never let the sport become bigger than the family. Interviews with Coco over the years reveal a home environment that was competitive but loving, disciplined but joyful, focused but balanced. Candy wasn't just a tennis mom. She was a mother who happened to have a daughter who played tennis. That distinction matters more than you might think. So when Coco stood in front of that camera and poured her heart out to her mom, it wasn't just a cute moment. It was a validation of an entire parenting philosophy. It was proof that you can raise a champion without breaking a spirit. It was evidence that love and excellence are not mutually exclusive. The tears that Candy cried weren't tears of relief that her investment had paid off. They were tears of a mother seeing her daughter become exactly the kind of person she had hoped she would be. Strong, grateful, grounded, generous. And speaking of generous, let's talk about the bombshell that dropped shortly after that match. While the tennis world was still processing the emotional weight of that camera moment, news began to circulate that Coco Gauff had made a massive financial commitment off the court. We're not talking about a new sponsorship deal or a real estate purchase. We're talking about a $150,000 donation to the United Negro College Fund specifically earmarked for tennis programs at historically black colleges and universities. $150,000. Let that number sink in for a moment. That's not pocket change. That's not a token gesture. That's a life-changing amount of money for programs that have been historically underfunded, overlooked, and underappreciated. But here's the kicker. This wasn't even the first time she'd done it. The previous year, Coco had donated $100,000 to the same cause. That means in just 24 months, this 21-year-old athlete has committed $250,000 to supporting HBCU tennis. $250,000. To put that in perspective, that's more than many professional tennis players earn in an entire year on tour. That's the kind of money that can build courts, buy equipment, fund scholarships, pay coaches, and create opportunities for student athletes who otherwise might never get the chance to compete at a high level. Let's zoom out for a moment and talk about why we, as fans and observers, are so drawn to Coco Gauff. In an era of curated social media feeds and manufactured celebrity personas, authenticity is rare and precious. We live in a world where public figures are coached on every word they say, every image they post, every gesture they make. The result is often a kind of bland, risk-averse approach to public life where nobody says anything meaningful because they're terrified of backlash. It's exhausting and boring and ultimately unfulfilling for everyone involved. Coco Gauff is the antidote to all of that. When she cried writing that message to her mom, it wasn't a calculated move designed to generate positive press. It was a spontaneous, genuine expression of emotion. When she announced that donation to the UNCF, it wasn't because her publicist told her it would be good for her brand. It was because she genuinely believes in the cause and wants to make a difference. When she talks about her family's HBCU legacy, you can hear the pride and love in her voice. It's real. It's unfiltered. It's honest. That authenticity is magnetic. We're drawn to it because it reminds us that beneath all the corporate sponsorships and marketing campaigns and media obligations, athletes are human beings with families and values and causes they care about. Coco doesn't just play tennis. She stands for something. She represents something. And in a sports landscape that often feels dominated by individual achievement and personal enrichment, that tension, particularly around issues of race, equity, and opportunity. The debates around affirmative action, diversity initiatives, and systemic inequality are contentious and often divisive. Into that environment steps Coco Gauff, who isn't interested in partisan politics or ideological battles. She's interested in action. She's interested in creating opportunities. She's interested in using her platform to amplify voices and communities that have historically been marginalized. The HBCU donation is a perfect example of this approach. She's not making sweeping political statements or wading into culture war debates. She's simply identifying a need, an area where she can make a tangible difference, and committing her resources to addressing it. It's practical, it's focused, and it's incredibly effective. Those tennis programs are going to benefit immediately and directly from her generosity. Student athletes are going to have opportunities they wouldn't have had otherwise. Coaches are going to have resources to do their jobs better. The ripple effects will extend far beyond the tennis court into academics, career preparation, and personal development. This is what real impact looks like. It's not about viral tweets or hot takes or performative gestures. It's about sustained commitment, financial investment, and genuine care for outcomes. Coco is building something here, a legacy that will outlast her playing career and continue to benefit people long after she's retired from the sport. As the third round approached, the tennis world was buzzing with anticipation. Could Coco go all the way? Could this be the tournament where everything clicked and she added a second Grand Slam title to her resume? The path wasn't easy. The draw was stacked with dangerous players. The conditions in Melbourne favored big servers and aggressive baseliners. But Coco had something that statistics and rankings couldn't measure. She had purpose. She had momentum. She had a family and a community behind her. And she had proven time and time again that when the pressure is highest, when the stakes are greatest, she has the ability to rise to the occasion. The match against Baptiste would be a test. All-American battles at Grand Slams are unpredictable. The familiarity between players can be an advantage or a disadvantage depending on how each person handles it. Baptiste knew Coco's game inside and out. She had practiced with her, watched her matches, studied her patterns. But Coco had the same knowledge. It would come down to execution, mental toughness, and who could impose their game on the other. As we look ahead to the rest of the tournament and the rest of Coco's career, certain things become clear. First, she has the talent and the mental fortitude to win multiple Grand Slam titles. Her game has evolved significantly since her breakthrough as a teenager, and she's still getting better. Second, she understands that her legacy will be defined by more than just trophies. The work she's doing off the court, the communities she's uplifting, the doors she's opening for others, all of that will matter just as much if not more than her ranking or her prize money. Third, she has the support system and the values to sustain excellence over the long term. She's not going to burn out or implode under pressure because she's grounded in something bigger than herself. The tears at the Rod Laver Arena, the message to her mother, the $250,000 investment in HBCU tennis. All of it tells a story about who Coco Gauff is as a person. She's a fierce competitor who cries when she thinks about her mom's sacrifices. She's a global superstar who remembers where she came from. She's a young woman building a legacy that will outlast any championship. And we get to watch it all unfold in real time. So what happens next? Coco continues her march through the draw, taking on all challengers with the same combination of skill, heart, and purpose that got her this far. The competition will get tougher. The matches will get longer. The pressure will intensify. But she's ready. She's proven she's ready. And whether she wins the Australian Open this year or not, she's already won something more important. She's won our hearts, our respect, and our admiration. Now I want to hear from you. What did you think about Coco's emotional message to her mom? Did you get a little misty-eyed watching that moment? Do you think she can go all the way and capture her second Grand Slam title? And how incredible is that $250,000 donation to HBCU tennis programs? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because I read every single one and I love hearing your perspectives. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the most compelling stories in sports right now, do me a huge favor and smash that like button. It helps the algorithm show this content to more people who would appreciate it. And if you're not already subscribed to Chatterbox, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss another story that goes beyond the headlines and gets to the heart of what really matters in sports and culture. Until next time, keep chatting, keep caring, and keep celebrating the athletes who remind us why we fell in love with sports in the first place. Peace.